everyone. This is Christine Thompson, lead agent on the CT team. Right back at you for another monthly update. I appreciate you checking in to watch this. If you've watched it before, you know I use Naperville as my, I like to say, guinea pig to pull up data month over month to compare what's happening in the market. I know that you are all probably hearing a lot of stuff on media, so I thought it's more so important that you're really watching this show, so that way you're getting data from an actual agent working in the field and pulling real data, because a lot of this media stuff you're hearing is national information. And I heard a great analogy that I'm going to share with you. I won't take ownership for you. I can't remember who I heard it from, but a great analogy where they said, if you were listening to a national weather forecast, would that matter for the town you lived in? I think not. I want to know what's happening in Naperville, not nationally what's happening in the United States. It could be very different in our micro market. So this is why I do the monthly update and I picked Naperville. But if you live in a different market, I am more than happy to provide you details like I'm providing today, but for your specific microscopic market, I like to call it. But let's jump in there. And before I do, I want to introduce my team agent, Prinjal Majitha. Prinjal, say hello.
Hi, everybody. And I wanted to say thank you, Christine, for having me part of your show today.
Of course, Prinjal. And for all of you watching, Prinjal might be hosting these shows in the future. So if you don't see me on the screen, it's not a stranger, it's Prinjal. You've been introduced to her and she's got great information. And I like having Prinjal on this too, because she can give you a little bit of different perspective, you know, coming from the younger group. I'm the old agent and Prinjal is the young current crowd. So if you ever want to get a perspective from someone more closer to your age, you can always reach out to Prinjal. Whenever she flashes on the screen, her phone number and everything is on there. Just put a pause on the video and you can gather her information and get in touch with her. Her phone number is her cell phone number. You can call or text her. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to share the screen and we are going to take a look at the actual presentation of information of what's happening out there. All right, so here we go. All right, are we looking good, Prinjal? Do I have everything on the screen proper?
Yes, we're looking good, Christine.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Because I'm kind of like a technical idiot here, so I want to make sure you can see it right. So there's all my contact information. But again, when Prinjal's talking, you can always pull up her information or just respond on our YouTube video. We're going to have this uploaded into YouTube within 24 hours after posting it on all our social media. All right, so let's get into the meat of things. What I do on this show, if you have not watched it before, is I compare what I shared last month to closing out this month. So we closed out October at the time of this recording. This is when we closed out September. What happened? These stats are pulled from the MLS. And again, for detached homes, that's what the DE stands for in all of Naperville. So I did not do it to a certain size home or price range or which of the zip codes in Naperville. It's all of Naperville. So closing out September, we saw that it had 143 new listings. 25 were private. And as I've said in the past, these private listings, very interesting, because when I was talking to someone at the MLS that, handles all of these listings, kind of an insider knowledge, they said, it was fascinating to me. They said of the private listings, they typically see that 95% of these are available for showings. So when you see 143 new properties, it's really like saying, I don't know, I'm not quick with math, but maybe another 20 of those 25 privates are taking showings. It's really like saying we got 163 homes instead of 143. So a little bit of perspective there, because remember, we can skin the cat a lot of different ways here. 91 went under contract. Price changes, we're seeing price changes. There was 9 in September. Still low. But I mean, compared to earlier this year where it was like 0 price changes, now we see 9. 102 closed. So Prinjal, remember these numbers because I'm going to show this month now. So we had new, now 139 new. It's a little bit up a little bit. Privates are up. We were at 25, right?
Wow, it almost doubled in size.
Yeah, that's right. 25 times 2 is 50. So yeah, almost double on privates. I'm wondering, if there are sellers out there a little bit nervous about their pricing, and maybe they're trying to feel out the market before they start accruing market time. A little strategy. So, hey, if you're a seller listening out there, give me a call. I can help you strategize on how you want to hit that market. Under contract, 81 under contract. What was do you remember last month, Prinjal? I'm not good with remembering numbers, even if I see it 2 seconds ago, because I'm old, remember?
No, no worries, Christine. I believe it was 91. I think it was 10
Yeah,
more.
bing, you win. You were right, 91. So 10 less under contract compared to closing out September. Do you remember the closed last month?
I believe it was 12 over last month too. So I think it was 102 last month.
Wow, you're amazing. Oh my God, good memory. I can remember something from a minute ago. I can remember stuff from when I was 10 years old though. So price change last month, 12 this month. So a little bit more price changes, probably what, 20% more price changes, but still really low. 12 homes of how many? Hundreds of properties. So that's good. So we're not seeing too many price changes, but we're seeing them. We are seeing them. So sellers, if you're thinking of going on the market, you got to pay attention to that, because you don't want to risk price changes. So this has become a really very special talent that you need from your agent when you're deciding on your pricing going on the market. This is a very unusual time. We're kind of like at a crossroads here. And you want to make sure that when you're coming out of the gate, that you're not going to see price change after price change after price change, because you will end up selling for less. We'd be happy to show graphs with you at another time if you're curious to see. We got a great graph from our team agent from Tom Pavetti. You saw it, right, Prinjal?
Yeah.
So shout out to you, Tom Pavetti. Thank you for sharing that graph showing, like, for amount of time on the market, it kept growing and growing and growing for how much homes sold from original list price to final sale price. It's a very telling chart. So food for thought for you sellers or potential sellers out there. So average, yeah, right?
Yeah, and before we move on, Christine, I just had a question that some of the viewers at home may have a question on. You were talking about the private market, but I wanted to ask you, as a viewer and not as an agent, how would we get access to this private market?
That's a good question, Prinjal. So you have to be working with a broker. You have absolutely zero access to it. It's something that just started a few years ago, where the MLS said, you know what, enough of all these crazy emails between all the agents saying, I got a pocket listing, it's not on the market, but I signed a listing, and the seller plans on selling the home in the next month or whatever time frame. So the MLS set up a separate search tab in the MLS where only agents can go in there and find homes that are signed on, has a listing signed with a broker, but they said, don't put it on the market yet. So it's not going out to Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com. And a buyer has to be working with an agent to find out, what are those private listings? What are my other additional options for choices? Because 139 homes for all of Naperville, that's not a lot of new stuff coming on the market, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, but remember, I said 95% of private listings are available for showing.
Oh, wow. So they're available, but just not on the market for viewers.
Exactly. So when you're working with a broker, the broker can reach out to those listing agents and say, I know it's not on the market, but could I get my buyer in there? And MLS is telling me 95% of these owners are saying yes. Yeah, come on in. And yeah, it's a huge advantage for buyers, especially right now, because there's less buyers out there, because we saw less closings, right? Less closings, less under contract. So if you can get in there even before it goes on the market, that seller may say, hey, we're starting to hear, about price changes, this and that. So if you're a buyer and you make an offer before they even go on the market, more negotiating power to you.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for answering that question, Christine.
Yeah, sorry, it was a little bit of a long answer. All right, so average sale prices. This graph is showing you for 3 years. You can see the trend. All right, I mean, wow, we thought 2020 was crazy, but look at the kick up in 2021, and then continuing into 2022. What I find interesting is You know, I could tell you 625 was last month, you know, and another price in October. But a lot of people are hearing, I mean, what are buyers telling you, Prinjal, when you're calling them? What they're concerned about prices?
They're concerned that prices are going to keep going up.
The price is going up, or because we got the whole story about the interest rates going up, right?
Oh, prices
Is that
are
what
going
you meant? Yeah, you
Yeah.
meant the interest rates. So they all think, well, the prices have got to go down because, you know, look at how the prices went up,
Yeah.
right? And that's what all the media is saying. Oh, you know, home prices are softening, you know, things are going down. Well, year over year, from a year ago in September, and even in September, we were hearing the media saying prices are going down. Year over year, they went up 10.1. This September to last. So this September, we closed at 627. October average for Naperville, same, you know, guinea pig here, audience, you know, criteria that we're using, 633. So that's up, what is that? 627 to 633, another 6K
Yeah.
in 1 month.
Wow.
Where's the market going down? Do you see it?
No, and I can tell you a lot of the clients that I worked with, they were worried about their homes depreciating in value. So seeing the scale going up is actually making homeowners that have bought within 2022 and 2021 a lot happier.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, the other message too is that buyers think like, well, my price is, you know, I don't want, I mean, I had buyers in August saying, I don't want to buy because these interest rates are going up and home prices are going to go down. We're not seeing it.
Nope, we're
Not
not seeing
yet.
it.
I mean, 10.5% increase year over year for October to October. That's still pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
So let's look at some other information here. Average market time. Now my box is blocking it a little bit, but it looks like there probably was a little bit dip up. That was in September, but year over year, how long did it have to be on the market? It went down almost 37%. Less time on the market to get a house sold. This month, 35%. So that did drop a little bit, right? But it looks like we don't see the dip there. It dipped up a little bit for September, but then it went down again in October.
Yeah.
So it was 30 days in October, 31 days in September, pretty much flat. Pretty much flat. We don't know what October was last year, but it's saying about 35%. Shorter time on the market. The shorter the time, the more a seller market.
And then, Christine, are these numbers accurate, or is it that are they a little off with the market time?
There could be some outliers out there. And the one thing that I always have a little bit of question about is an agent may get the offers after 5 days on the market, but maybe they're still working on negotiations until they finally put it in the MLS as under contract. It could be another 5 days. So 30 days, is that accurate? It might be less. It actually might be less.
Oh, okay.
Less, because you know, for me, for my listings, you know, fighting for my sellers, I don't want to put in there the moment it's under contract in the MLS status. We're allowed to wait 48 hours. So
Oh,
I wait the 48 hours to see, is another buyer going to come in that, you know, maybe my seller took a home sale contingency and they'd love to have a buyer without it. Okay, let's see if we can get another buyer in there. The other agents are aware that there's a home sale contingency on the contract. And if their buyer makes an offer without a home sale contingency, there is a kickout clause in the contract, and they could go to that first buyer and say, we got a better offer. Are you going to remove your home sale contingency? So that's why I wait the 48 hours. Like, there might be a better buyer that dribbles in.
oh, okay.
And the seller does have a contractual right to be able to consider another offer.
Right. So that means that these numbers are off a little bit, and actually
A little bit.
They're going to be a little less, actually.
A little bit different, a little bit lower. I mean, some agents are just, you know, default and like, oh, I forgot to put it in there, you know, and they don't want to get fined. So they put in a date that's later than when that contract actually was. It happens, people. No, you know, people are human, right? Agents are perfect. So I wouldn't say this is exact, but if you were going to question it, it's probably actually a little bit lower.
Great to
Not
hear.
high, not higher. Good question. Average number of showings to a contract. We can see that it took more. Now, I'd like to point something out. Like here, we're seeing a ton of showings, but that was clearly a seller market. What was happening was there was a ton of showings in a very condensed time. I had a listing where in a accumulated 24 hours, it had 66 showings.
Oh my God.
So it wasn't like it was like 4 months to get the 60 showings. It was in a weekend, 66 showings. So when you have that many showings condensed to a really short time, that price is going up. Okay. So what this does not show is in what period of time is that average. I mean, we see it for September, but was that through the 30 days or was it like on one weekend? You know what I mean? So would have to do a little bit more digging on that, which I'm going to show you later on in this presentation. Okay. So that was September was 30, October was 30, pretty flat. Didn't really see any movement. And we're seeing year over year, it was about 15% more showings than last year in order to get a house under contract. This is where it's the breakdown, where we can see weekend by weekend, what was the average showing per home. So so this is where you're kind of like peeling away the layers on the onion to really see what's behind that bigger number, the 30-day average. So we can see here per house, way back in August, we hit almost 3 per listing every weekend, really dipped down. That's Labor Day weekend. People are on vacation, right? And then it picked up a little bit, then it went down here. And interestingly enough, people think like, well, October, we're starting to get into it. It's going to really slow down. It's not. We are probably these bars are similar to here. And then this weekend in October, weekend prior to Halloween, that's almost as good as in August. FYI, I have a theory on why there was a lot more activity. Do you notice the date? End of August? You know what was happening then? Oh, the kids are back in school. Mom's going to go out and find a new home.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, and also a lot of realtors are mothers. Kids are at school now. They can start focusing on their work, go out there, shake the tree and say, hey, buyer, let's get out there and look at a home.
Oh.
I know it sounds stupid, but it's the reality of it. I've been doing this for 20 years, so I know the patterns. I know the broker patterns of when they start getting busier again and working harder.
Yeah.
Summers are kind of like on vacation because their kids are off of school and they're like, I got to bring them to soccer. We're going to do a family trip. They're not focused on their clients and their buyers. So they're not trying to encourage their buyers to get out there and shop. Once the kids are at school in August, they're like, I'm back on the phone and I'm calling all my buyer clients. I know, it's crazy. All right, all you guys out there, you get to hear the inside buyer broker talk about that. So that's my crazy theory, but I think there's truth to it. I've been doing this for 20 years. My mom's been a realtor since 1978. I know the patterns. Okay. So this is very interesting. Showings are still up. Okay. Now this was Halloween weekend. So, people are doing Halloween stuff and God bless us all finally after 2 years of things being kind of shut down, finally really out there. Everyone's like all in on any kind of holiday, right? We're all in.
Yeah, and we've thankfully had beautiful weather, so knock on some wood.
Yes, yeah, right. Because we passed out trick-or-treat bags in a neighborhood. So you want freebie stuff, call us, right, Prinjal?
Call us.
That's right, that's right. So this is a fun one. This is just kind of like an overall summary of all this other stuff that we saw. All right, Christine, great. Thanks for showing us all these stats. What does it mean? Where are we at? So when we closed out, when I pulled this graph, I call it the market action index needle. And when I pulled it on October 3rd, it was saying we were at 40, which means we are still in the seller's advantage. It's not like a strong seller's advantage. I mean, we used to be like in the 60s, between 60 and 70.
Wow.
Beginning early this year. We are down to 40 on October 3rd, and this month we're at 38. So is it a seller market still? Yes. Is it selling a hot minute market for a seller? No. But it still is a seller's market. And that's why we saw on that graph earlier, hey, the home prices have not gone down. Right? Still,
Yeah.
we're still good. Let's take a look at rates, because this is the big elephant in the room. Right?
Yeah, this is what everyone's worried about. Everyone's stressing about this.
It's on everybody's topic whenever they talk real estate. So when we looked at the average on September 5th, a 30-year fixed conventional was 6.05. Let me move my little image here. And this left or right, far right column is the APR. So pretty close, 6.07. And an FHA was 6.07, same. It's usually, different, but same. So that was September, 6.07. Okay, Prinjal, you remember the number because I won't.
Okay, I'm gonna try to.
So this month, I got a little bit different graphics here. And what you want to focus on is down here. These are the 30-year samples. So these are just two different brokerages, and they're coming in at 7.13 and 7.38. What was it? What was it a month ago?
607?
6.07. Yeah. These numbers are if you did a 15-year fixed. So Prinjal, what is one of the suggestions that you would give a buyer if they're working, or that a lender is giving our buyers in order to get this rate lower? What are we asking sellers for?
We're asking sellers, we're finally able to ask sellers for a buyback on
That's right.
a buyback on the interest points.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So there are great things happening for you buyers out there. You're not competing against a bunch of other buyers, driving the price up. You might have room to negotiate on the price. And then you can also, if you're like, you talk to your lender, and your lender may say, you know what, pay a little bit more on price, and then hit the seller up for a good credit. And that will buy down your interest rate, and that will actually get your monthly payment lower than if you were able to negotiate that lower price with the seller. Because for you as a buyer, it's not about the price. It's about your monthly payment that you're locking in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, seller is about price, but either way, they're getting the same price. Either you're negotiating them down, or you're giving a little bit better price and getting the credit. Their bottom line's the same, so they don't care.
Yeah.
And sellers will do what they can to encourage a buyer to purchase their home. And if it means, hey, we'll help you buy down your rate so you can buy our house, and we're still getting the same bottom dollar, seller doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's an awesome solution, right?
Yeah, it's a great solution. And
Yeah.
now that we're moving into a little bit, now the market has cooled a little bit on the seller's market, we're finally getting back to that.
I know, it's like the stress is off the buyers now, like, oh, thank gosh,
I know. Breathe
And
a little.
yeah, and we're seeing that the prices haven't come down, right?
No, we haven't.
Right. So we don't know where these rates are going. They might go up, and we're seeing that the home prices are still trending up. Maybe not as crazy fast, but they're still trending up. So better to dive in now while you're not competing against other buyers, because come the spring market, that might happen again.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have buyers coming on the market saying, you know what, enough of waiting for the rate. I'm done waiting. We need to move on with our lives. We are going to see more buyers on the market, and you are going to be in a situation of probably competing a little more to purchase a home, and the rates are still there. And now it's going to be harder to go to the lender or to the seller and ask for that credit to buy down your rate. So lower home price right now versus next year, and negotiate down your rate. Way more affordable to buy now. Way more. Yeah, and we got all that private inventory.
And
More
now
options
you're
out there.
right now you're not competing with multiple. There's still multiple offer situations happening, but there's not as many buyers on the
Very
market.
few. Yeah.
There's not
Well,
many offer situations.
well, and I could even say being on the list agent side, even of the multiple offers coming in, they're not as wicked crazy as they used to be.
Finally.
You know, that is definitely softening, even with the multiple offers, you know, it's getting way easier for buyers. And I love that they're able to go out there and ask sellers to help buy down their points.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So it just boggles my mind that buyers are not aware of this. So all of you listening, this is why we're talking about it. We want you to be aware of that.
We want you
Here's
to take
just
advantage of that.
absolutely, my gosh. I mean, if I was a buyer, I'd be hopping on that wagon right now.
Exactly.
This is just kind of to help all of you watching understand, you know, you're hearing again and again, oh, the market's going down. We're going to have a massive influx of distressed properties because COVID lifted the moratorium and people have to pay these mortgages and they probably can't. And we're going to have distressed sales. You know, I've heard that, you know, I have some clients telling me, well, I was listening to the radio and this lender said that, you know, we're going to have all these distressed properties hitting the market, and it's just going to bring the whole market value down. And I spoke to another industry expert and he said, Christine, the amount of mortgages where that you're going to have that issue is like 0.1% of all mortgages out there.
And
that,
I can even tell you from personal experience, because I worked for a mortgage company during COVID and a little bit after COVID for about a year. And I was waiting for all the foreclosure calls to be coming in and waiting for people to ask me about the foreclosure and what to do. But I will tell you, those companies did a good job of helping people during COVID because there's not a lot of foreclosures out there now.
Yeah, the inventory is very low for the distressed sales. Look at how many there were back in when we had the great recession in 08. There was a lot, 10.4 million.
Oh boy.
Right? Supply of homes that were distressed. Very much lower numbers, much lower numbers. It's not enough to pull that market down. It's not. And the reason these numbers are so much lower is because even before we hit COVID, most owners had positive equity because they stopped giving out the bad loans. So I think our next graphic is about that. Lending standards. Back then, Prinjal, I don't know, you might have been in diapers then, you know, but back then in I remember this because that's how long I've been doing this business. Back in 04, 05, I remember you could fog a mirror and get a loan. I remember I had clients that were the lenders said, we're going to do a no doc loan. We don't even need any paperwork. Just tell us your numbers. We're going to plug it into the system and here's your money.
I'm shocked. Oh my God.
I know, it's crazy. So this sounds insane, but I mean, I don't know it personally, but when the government said, we got to investigate all this, and this is when this really dropped down because the government stepped in and said new rules, but they put a moratorium on the whole lending industry as far as foreclosures went. They said you cannot issue any foreclosures. None of the banks were allowed to from October of 2010. And they finally lifted the moratorium in, I think it was November of 2011. So for a good solid year, there were 4 huge banks that the government was investigating and finding out, going through so many stacks of documents to find out what was happening. And banks were just signing off on foreclosures that were not rightfully so. And they were seeing how these loans were being processed too, because they knew this is part of the problem. And they discovered there was a loan given to a dog.
A dog?
A dog. Somebody used their dog's name for an application to get a loan, and they got the loan.
Oh my God.
So they were probably doubling up saying, we're going to get a loan for an investment property. We're going to get a loan for our own house. Let's just get out there. We can get these properties because they don't need anything. You just get a loan.
I don't know what I'm more surprised about, that the dog had a last name or the dog got a loan.
I don't know. I don't know how they said at closing. Like, do you have the dog there? You know, I don't know. I don't know how they pulled that off, but that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I don't know the story. I don't know personally who had the dog, but that I'm like, but it's just an example of like crazy stuff was being discovered. So when you see this massive drop here, this is when, you know, the market tanked, and then the government stepped in and said, we got to take a look at, they made all new rules for the lenders, and then docs were required.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember they like, this felt like a stranglehold on the buyers, because all of a sudden they're like, we thought we could get a loan, but we can't. What's wrong with a 450 credit score? You know, like, I can't get a loan. You mean I got to have a good credit score? Really? I got to make money? Really? So all of a sudden, you know, they had requirements, and you had to have paper, actual documentation to prove what you're saying. So that got a lot tougher. So now, way better conditions for getting a loan, which forces equity in the loans. So foreclosure starts. I remember, I mean, we were at crazy numbers. This was back in 2004 or January. Yeah. Okay. This was when we had the Great Recession. I mean, we had major numbers of distressed sales company hitting the market, and then they dropped off. And this is where we're at now. Come on, you guys. There's hardly anything going on.
Yeah.
Another reason why we're not going to have properties pulling down the market. The only thing that's going to, you know, the interest rates is a blip. People like reacting to the interest rates, but give this another, you know, they started, you know, going down or going up. I'd say April, May, it started becoming a reality. Like, oh, it went up. Oh, it's going up, up, right? And so now it's clearly been up, and hopefully people are starting to hear the 30-year average for an interest rate is 8%. We're below that average.
We're still below. We're still below it.
We're still below it, but we might go to 8.
We might.
That's an average. That's the average. And when people were getting loans at 8%, I do remember people were buying down points then, buying down to get their interest rate down. It's just that people haven't been doing it for a while because they didn't have to. So they're like, what is that? What's that? I'm like, it's actually not unusual, long-term history to do that. So yeah, very interesting. So I really think, and everyone can record, this is being recorded, and let's see if I'm wrong. Prinjal, you can call me on this if I'm wrong, but I think when we hit February, March, especially March, when these rates are still where we're seeing them, I really think buyers are going to say, done with waiting for the rate. Done. We got to get out there. We're not seeing the homes imploding on value. We better jump in before the home prices are even higher, and maybe the rates even go higher. We better jump in. And hopefully you buyers out there, hopefully more of you are hearing about buying down points. You can get the interest rate down, negotiate that with your seller. Let's see what happens in the spring though. Is there a lot of opportunity to be able to ask that from a seller? We'll see. We'll see. If the buyers get fed up with the interest rates and say, let's get out there and buy a home, now you might be competing against other buyers, and you got to yank that one out of the offer to win.
Yeah.
So if I were a buyer, I'd be like, well, let's jump in now.
Yeah.
Now.
Too. Because that's a very good point.
Yeah. All right, Prinjal, I want you to comment on this one.
Okay, so this is talking about how millennials are still the driving force of today's buyer demand, which has been the driving demand for about a couple years now, because millennials are hitting the age they're about in their 30s now. And I can personally tell you as well that I have an older sister that is just now getting her career on the right path. She's done with schooling and everything, and now she's in about a year or so, she's gonna be one of these buyers that's on the market. And I will tell you, on all of her friends as well, they're all moving out of their parents' places, and they're all getting on the market within a year or two.
Right. So that household of one where they used to live, they're moving out. So that one household is turning into 2 households. Like our manager, six kids. The last one is finishing up, moving out. So that one household is now 7 7
Exactly.
rooftops, 7 exponential growth there, right?
Exponential, and it's expected
Oh,
to just go higher because as soon as millennials are not even done, as soon as millennials get on the market, knock knock, the Gen Zs are right behind them. Where they're also in their 20s, and they're, you know what, Gen Zs are go-getters. They've been getting their, they've been
yeah,
getting money, they've been working, and they're going to be on this market soon.
yeah. You know when they're going to be on the market? When crypto goes up.
When crypto goes up,
When
yep, you'll see.
crypto goes up, they're going to say, I'm going to use my crypto to buy a house. And okay, everyone listening, you're probably going, yeah, that's insane. You can't buy a house with crypto. Well, surprise, surprise, you can. We do it here. All right. We're certified in helping buyers purchase with crypto.
Yeah, it's a
I've got,
real,
it's
really,
a reality. I've got
yeah.
title companies that do it. What's really nice with the crypto purchase is that, I know for your age, your millennials, Gen Zs, you guys like to do everything online and have everything documented. And so with the crypto contract, negotiations even, we have basically it's like a blockchain. Everything is in stone. We know every back and forth negotiation. Nothing is confused. So it's really great documentation. So that way there is no argument over what's happening even in the communications back and forth on the offers.
Mm.
And if a homeowner is moved out of the house and we have everything aligned, once that buyer is accepted and they're doing crypto, they can own that house in an hour.
In an hour?
That fast. They can own it that fast.
Yeah. And
It's
I know
crazy.
personally, I know Gen Z loves being online, so I know that's going to be the next thing that's on demand.
Yeah, there are closings that have successfully closed that were crypto transactions.
Wow.
So I think when crypto goes up, because if you own crypto, you're not going to want to release that now.
Yeah.
Right? You put money into it, you want to get it back to where you had it. But once it's back to where people had it, I mean, that's insane. I mean, I think it's awesome. You could do a crypto all cash purchase, or you can use crypto for your down payment.
Oh.
Now, obviously, yeah. So obviously, if you do crypto for your down payment, you still got to get pre-approved and be able to take a loan on. So you do have to have a job. Okay. You do have to have a job for a couple of years to show steady income. But if you're like, yeah, but I just don't have the cash to put down, and I'd like to put a lot down so I can get my interest rates down, you can use your crypto.
Oh, great news.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty awesome. So everyone, this is my contact information. All right. You pause it, save that. I'm going to stop sharing so we can get Prinjal back on the screen. Prinjal, I want you to say goodbye, have a few last words so people can get all your information on the screen.
No problem, Christine. So again, this is me, Prinjal Majitha. I am a part of the CT team. And thank you again for Christine for having me on today's show. I had a great time, and hopefully soon I'll be hosting one of these.
Okay. Can you do me a favor? Can you say goodbye in your other two languages that you speak? I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm not sure if I know them.
Say anything you want.
It would just be bye. I don't think there is any.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't speak your languages, but if you're greeting or saying, "Hey, I'm leaving."
Oh, I could speak it in Gujarati, so I do know Gujarati. So I can say "Mujochu," and that just means I'm leaving.
Okay, all righty.
So yes, and I do speak Hindi and Gujarati, but Hindi is a little. Hindi, I do know that they use a lot of English words when they're speaking Hindi as well. So Hindi, I know it's going to be bye, but in Gujarati, I can say "Mujochu," which means I'm leaving.
All right. Well, thank you, Prinjal. I appreciate that. So I'm going to call it. You speak Pigeon Hindi, Pigeon Hindi.
Pigeon Hindi.
Pigeon Hindi. Yeah. It means more like slang and in the way people just kind of speak it instead of the formal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Would that be correct? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like Hindi English, so English, whichever
Yeah.
one.
So, I mean, that's considered broken Hindi.
Yeah.
And the slang way of saying that is like pigeon Hindi.
Oh, well, yes, I
Pigeon
learned something.
Hindi. There you
Pigeon.
go. Well, everyone, thank you for joining our show. I hope you found it entertaining. We obviously like to have a lot of fun on our team. We're full of information. If it raised questions in your mind and you need additional information, you've got my contact information right here on the screen. Feel free to reach out to me. You can call or text me on that number, obviously email me, or if you have a preferred social media platform, you can find me there. Most importantly, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's called Naperville Living in Naperville with Christine Thompson. You can see all of my monthly updates. I was actually doing weekly updates starting during the beginning of COVID time. So I got a long history of updates. And when you go onto that YouTube channel, when you're in my channel, just type in update and you'll see a little thumbnail of me opening up blue barn doors inside of a house, a nice luxury house. You hit the right spot. That's where you can find all the updates. You might find it interesting to look back in a score of time, how things have changed. We got it all documented in there. And if there's anything particular that we don't have in there that you want information for, again, just call, text, or DM us anytime. You know how to reach me and Prinjal. Thank you all for joining, and be sure to tell everyone else to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. I said Instagram, Facebook. We're out there everywhere you can find us, okay? You guys all have a fantastic day, and watch for another monthly update at the beginning of December. You guys take care. And happy holidays. We're running into them. Take care.
Take care.